Welcome to my illustrated podcast, Art and Flatnixing, dedicated to a new show in the Museum Bonnefanten in Maastricht, in the Netherlands, at the Bonnefanten Museum. In the first room we see 4 sculptures called Penthesilea, first made for an opera, or first thought of as props for an opera. But these 4 versions were conceived as sculptures. And their form is based on metal stands used in slaughterhouses to judge the quality of a cow's hide. So you can see the hook there with which the hide is attached to the metal stand. And these sculptures consist of wax forms, wet wax objects, textures, shapes that have been painted into silicone molds of cowhides. So we see a metal stand here. A wax form seemingly hanging on this hook, colored by using different kinds of wax with different colors, and thus creating a phallic shape which at the same time seems to contain evocations of the female genitals. Origine du monde, origins of the world, sacred, forbidden images. Structurally, these sculptures are new in Berlinde De Bruyckere's work because before she made casts of shaven horses, but here the casts are made of the cowhides. The silicone molds take with them some of the hair of the cowhide. And then when the wax is painted into the silicone mold, the hairs come out of the mold and come with the wax. At the same time, sometimes even small particles of the silicone mold stick on the final shape. One of the 4 sculptures has sturdy feet. The 3 others, and I imagine they came later, have thinner feet to make the sculptures lighter, I think, or seem lighter and more elegant. In the next room, we will see a series of sculptures called Szemkel, which is a word derived from a Polish poem. And actually the shape based on the wing of an angel. The idea is that the idea was to make sculptures based on the shape of a wing. We can see this very well in the first one. The left wing of an angel. And in these sculptures, the same wax technique of wax painted into silicone molds made of cow hides is used, but combined as well with very beautiful curtains from some castle or other, golden curtains with these fringes. I don't know how you call them in English. And here as well we find an intricate surface texture, very painterly texture. Here we see particles of the silicone mold that have been ripped out of the mold and add an extra layer. Here we see the original hair of the cow. Then we see parts of bear wax, and then we see the curtain. Again, we see a phallic shape. Or the shape of a scrotum or ball sac, which in drawings of Berlinde De Bruyckere is compared to or fused with the shape of vaginas. Why? I don't know. Because it creates or reinforces the idea that we are watching things that are not supposed to be watched, or because we are watching objects that might have a deterrent effect, like a Medea head. I don't know. Or because they are sculpturally thought, and sculptures are created by removing material, adding material, making holes, and making folds. I think the work is very painterly, look at these colors, and also thoroughly sculptural.
Dus die gematen, die veranderingen, die doen we ook al denken aan oude werk van
modern sculpture. Abstract human form. Made with different casts of different bodies, sometimes also animal bodies. New sculptures based on the shape of tree trunks, representing for Berlinde De Bruyckere Saint Sebastian. A tree, one tree of twins. Originally the sculpture consists of two variations of this sculpture. In the first version, the cripplewood sculpture, the tree was taken care of as if it were wounded. I don't know the word banded, does one say banded? Here as well, but less explicitly so. I once wrote about Berlinde's work that her sculptures seemed to be suckles for the night, as if they were invitations, or not invitations, but as if the actual subjects were the black holes. In this room we see a painterly sculpture called Lily. The series, I think there are 5 of them now. Of sculptures that repeat the same themes I already named, but including originally wallpaper, and here maybe a kind of bed cover or rich curtain, I don't know. The 3 first lilies were made with paper, this one with fabric, wax, the works are called lilies, of course, as a reference again to the female genitals, but also because she really sees her sculptures as a kind of flowers with strong pistils and fragile leaves. Again, we meet looming darkness, fragility, care as well, but also a reflection on surface texture, a very painterly reflection, and one on sculpting and the essence of sculpting, of course, as in these drawings based on the male sex organs, revealing that genitals are always coming from the same origin and just have unfolded themselves differently throughout evolution. Here we see a sculpture based on the bodies of two horses deposited within a cupboard that has glass doors on all sides, which makes it amazingly sculptural and pictorial. Also, for one of the first times, it's the first time I see it, we meet horses with real heads. Before, they never had heads. They have become individuals. They are not obscene. They are tender or represented tenderly. I think sculpturally it's very beautiful, but also, so basically these sculptures are polyester forms covered with horse skin. In this room we find two also painterly sculptures that I'm very fond of. They are the fourth and the fifth version of a series of sculptures created in June 2018 by finding blankets in the studio hung one over the other by the assistants, because Berlinde wanted to see some blankets that had been deteriorating in the garden. For her sculpture Cripplewood, created for the Biennial of Venice, she had her assistants deteriorate blankets for her in washing machines with cobblestones, which took an enormous amount of energy and time, also scraping them with stones, etc., until she realized that if she would put them in the garden, they would deteriorate by themselves. And indeed, sometimes bacteria create new patterns on the blankets that look like deer hides, but also turn the wool again into a kind of animal skin. Of course, apart from this surface matter, texture, it is also a very beautiful sculpture that seems to refer to paintings of the Flemish primitives, to altarpieces, crucifixions. And in a very painterly way, they might reveal a kind of ghosts or faces or figures that appear and disappear, that loom. Two sculptures here called Arcangelo. They're angels as well. And they are the last sculptures Berlinde De Bruyckere made, 3 of them, 2 on view here, because she thought the spectator needed more figures and less abstraction in her work. We see the same shapes. You see the dark space in the middle. and the combination of a phallic with a supposedly feminine shape. These interpretations are not really important, as to me, because they are just basic ways of sculpting. On the surface level, again, we meet naked wax very often because the silicone mold has been used so often that there is no hair left. Freshly used silicone mold, used already once, and then the second time giving only a few hairs. Ik ben bijna klaar. I have to shut up now. Piles of deer hides recreate the dark animal shape because the hides do not have an equal thickness. So they more or less repeat the shape of the animal. It's kind of ghost or monster. These are reconstructions of piles of freshly removed hides, treated with salt immediately, which she found in a slaughterhouse. Gruesome, this sculpture. The weight of the second stack, crushing the remains of freshly killed animals. But of course, also a sculpture about stability, architecture, construction, sockles in sculpture. You can always see her work as something that speaks of suffering and solace, but also about painting, about sculpture, about architecture, about sculptural thinking.